Well, your videos are going to be a little bit later tonight. You know what? I had everything planned. I was going to go to Chicago. I was going to get back home early. I was going to train a couple of horses. I was going to go and watch Oliver's games. Probably Saturday afternoon, get all the videos done. The Wi-Fi at the hotel was good. Load them all. Write the email. Relax on Sunday. I see. Instead, I was stranded, marooned in Chicago's O'Hare Airport. And United Airlines, if you follow me on social media, you got a pretty good idea of what I think of United Airlines right now. And it wasn't that, I fixed it. I just got a plane ticket with another airline. For them to say that, it's because of the flights and the this and that, well, that's a lie. I got a flight with Delta in an hour's notice. That was on time. Got on the plane. Was nothing weird. They flew me to exactly where they said they'd fly me to, and I got off, and everything was fine. And I guess in all this, I still remember this lady with two kids in the waiting lounge, and I booked my ticket right in front of her. And I said, "This United," I said, "this is ridiculous. I'm just going to cancel my ticket and fly with someone else." I said, "I can get to." Now, I guess she wasn't going to Buffalo. She was going to Newark. I remember now. I said, "I'm going to Buffalo. I'm booking this ticket." And she goes, "I'm just going to stick it out. I'm going to wait it out." She was so mad, but she said, I guess it was one of those situations where it was better to deal with the devil you know than the devil you don't type thing, which they were both devils. I just wanted to get one of them to get me to Buffalo. So I get on the Delta flight. I get to Buffalo at 9 o'clock rather than 9:20 in the morning. I get to Buffalo at 9 o'clock at night. By the time I got off the airplane, now there's shuttle. I had to walk. I left my car at the airport. Sorry, at the hotel across the street from Buffalo Airport. It was no big deal. I had to walk. There was a 20-minute walk. No big deal. I wasn't waiting for the shuttle, and I wasn't ordering an Uber to literally go across the street, but you had to walk around. So by the time I get in the car and got to Oshawa, Ontario, Bowmanville, Ontario, where Ollie was playing. Wait, no. We stayed in Bowmanville. He was playing in Oshawa. I got there at 1:40 in the morning. And I still remember this lady in the lounge. So I put the story on Facebook, on Twitter, and I got a little spat. No, it wasn't. United tried to smooth things over, and I was having none of that. I was still in rage mode. And then I get a message. They still haven't got those people out of Chicago. Still haven't. Oh, because of ongoing storms and shortages and who knows, the stars and the moon aligning in a different direction. We won't be, we can't get you out until, tomorrow, virtually. Here's your options. Go to this link and here's your option. I would have lost my mind. Anyway, it didn't really bother me. It's frustrating, but especially in this day and age, and Steve was right the other day. He was traveling with me. The reason I flew to Philadelphia at 6 o'clock in the morning, got there at 7 o'clock in the morning, was because I didn't want to cut it too close, right? You assume that if you book an 11 o'clock flight, you will be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. But now, this day and age, there's pilot shortages, staffing shortages, and the price of fuel, I'm sure, plays a role. There's so many variables that go into it, but it'd just ruin your week. You imagine now if I didn't make it. And as I say that, the best drivers in the world were in Philadelphia, but it would have been frustrating. Philadelphia went well. Chicago didn't go great on the track, but I think Jim will have that sorted pretty easy next week. We know where all the gear exactly goes on our race bike and everything with Rosita's Dream. Got a pretty good idea of where we have to do a little maintenance on the horse, and I'm sure he'll be fine in the final. And for at least one or a few of our clients, be happy there's a driver change. So that's good. And GJ's ATM, I'm sure he'll have it sorted out soon. I don't have the schedule in front of me when he races again, but again, have formulated a plan how to how to combat what we see on the track. It's not always easy just to go from track to track with different surfaces and different issues that you're trying to navigate, mitigate. But all in all, Rosita's Dream made the final, and GJ's ATM will go and get them next time, hopefully. What do we got going on? So, you know what? The last few weeks, I've got emails from everybody, say on Monday or Tuesday, saying, you forgot to talk about this horse. You forgot to talk about that horse. Well, the reason I forgot to talk about the horse is we're on a fantastic run, and yeah, a couple have slipped through the cracks. Last week, it was Renegade Gypsy. I forgot to talk with him, and he did race good, and quite frankly, he raced good in Hanover again, finishing second. The horse that beat him, many of you may not remember or may not be with us long enough, Cruising in Style is the other horse, is the brother to, forgot my glasses too. Cruising in Style is the brother to Seacan, the horse that beat Renegade Gypsy. And quite frankly, Seacan was racing against much better company than Renegade Gypsy, so it's not like we got snapped on the wire by an inferior horse. Mario drove the horse good, he raced good, we get beat fair and square, we drew good in the final, and we'll go and race. So it seems like every day I'm missing a horse or two, and I do apologize. Please just cut me a tiny bit of slack with so much going on. Most important thing for me, I wanted to have things go. You can't always have things go your way. They went pretty well in Philadelphia. They didn't go our way, but I'm comfortable saying that we took a lot out of Illinois in the sense that we understand both horses a little bit better now, what their wants and needs will be for next week, and I'm comfortable that we can get that fixed. And then the entire week, we've had horses racing good and horses coming back, horses that were looking at resting. So just a ton of things going on right now. I guess most important to me, I'm sorry, but was Oliver's baseball game. I wanted to make it to get beat in the final. Man, his team played good and he played great. To be honest, he got some really good players on both teams. Ollie showed some good defense, some good offense, had a couple of good pokes, had a couple of RBIs, I believe, scored once or twice, had a sliding catch in the outfield, so I was pretty proud of him. He had a great weekend. It's always tough, for an 8-year-old to watch the other team. I know Ollie's team come back and beat, now they play 7 innings, and Ollie's team came back and beat the other team in the 7th inning the game before. And of course, you can see our team was elated and throwing their gloves around. They were all excited. You look across the diamond, and the other kids are bawling their eyes out, and you feel bad for them. We get to be on, we get to wear that shoe in the final. The LaSalle, Ontario team, who is the best team in the province, I'm told, they didn't put it on them. They didn't outplay them. They just played better than them. They just beat them. They got they beat them by 3 runs, which isn't, for those of you who have children in baseball, 3 runs is nothing. They played good, so I was proud of the way that they played, and I got to see them play, and I told them after, I said, no one wants to lose, but you guys didn't get beat up. I've seen them kick the ball around and make some mistakes in the playoffs or in games that I've gone to this season, but not very many errors made on either side in the final. A real good game, and I told them, I don't really subscribe to the new generation of, as long as you have fun, it's a great day. I mean, I'm still the guy that wants to win, right? Most of us are out there. We grew up in a generation where you played to see who the best team was. One guy left with a trophy, the other guy left with some tears, and everybody learned from it. And that's kind of the way I am. But at the same token, I try not to put very much pressure on Oliver. I do want to see him do his best, but at the same token, he did his best today, and I was very, very happy with him. You hear a lot of the same tones with the way I talk about our young horses, with the way I am with my family, right? And I think it's hard to, you are who you are. I want to win, but you got to respect the good effort, and his team played very, very good today. So very proud and very happy of my boy Oliver today. Now, what about the other boys and girls? Had a pretty good week. Crantini remained undefeated and looked very, very good. He wasn't perfect. He looked a little rusty warming up. I think Scott said he thought his knees were bothering him good, but like I said to Scotty after, and I didn't have to tell him, Scotty's a world-class driver. Winners win, right? We say that all the time. Crantini's got used to fighting back and winning. He is that toughness Well, he came that way, but we were able to polish enough of the rudeness and ignorance out of him that what we're left with is a fighter. And he was headed halfway down the lane. Didn't just fight back and win by nose. Fought back and put him away and made him like it. I like that gritty, tough victory and the way that he did it. So very, very proud of Crantini and the way he raced. Wow, my own other phone just went off. I didn't even know it did that. So very proud of Crantini. And for those people out there that said Sintra's too old, he's washed up, his best races are behind him, you're partly right. His best races are behind him. There's no two ways about that. But man, it's tough to beat Class, eh? It's so tough to beat Class. Just Sylvain drove the horse perfect in both starts he's raced him. To put him in the position he did, to race the way he did, was just exceptional, and the horse just showed. You give a horse like Sintra a chance to win in a class, he can win, and almost every time he will. He's just a classy horse, and just showed how deep his class actually ran the other day. Just so impressed with how he raced. Carter Michael Dio, we've been waiting for this colt to come around for a long time. You're not going to win much easier in any sort of stakes competition than he did the other day. In fact, I told you guys the story about how I trained him the other day, and Ron Burke had stopped me in the paddock and said, "Hey, who was the horse that you trained there?" And I said, "Well, it's Carter Michael Dio." I said, "If he races good, he might be coming to you after the race. We'll see how he goes." And Ronnie doesn't miss a thing. I called him. I had a short break after Carter Michael Dio's race. I had a race off where I didn't have to warm up and I didn't have to drive. And I called Ronnie, and he picked the phone up, and all he said was, "Man, he looks some kind of good." And there's a guy that races, 15 to 30 horses every single day that they race horses in North America, and had his bearings about him in such a manner that he knew to watch a horse that was not his race in Philadelphia. It's just impressive to me from somebody that runs a pretty big organization to talk to a guy that runs a bigger one and know that he's on top of his stuff that much. It was impressive. Anyway, I talked to Ron Burke, and Carter Michael Dio is with Ron Burke. Now, just so everybody, because a lot of people are going to ask me, some people didn't know he was with Ron Burke now after the race. And some people are going to ask, what's the plan for him? So the plan for him is very fluid. Obviously, the horse was sent there to do good things, hopefully. Not that he didn't, not that he wouldn't, not that he shouldn't. But he was sent there because I think he is actually what James said he was. I might make fun of James, but James drives a lot of horses and certainly at least knows what a good one feels like. Carter Michael Dio certainly looked incredible. And it's not to say that Spitfire didn't race good, because I think he's going to grow into an exceptional horse also. And it's not that Crantini didn't race good, because he did. Carter Michael Dio's got something to him where it's just like, wow, that's impressive. So Ronnie had asked me the same thing. I sent him a stake schedule. He goes, "What about the Houghton, ? And I said, "Ron, that is up to you. You will tell me if he can go to the Houghton. You've seen how he races. You've seen how he looked. You see what his staking is." He goes, "I'll train him on Tuesday, and I'll let you know if I'm entering him in the Houghton or not." So that's where we're at with Carter Michael Dio. There is a chance that you'll see him Indigo in the Peter Houghton Memorial at the Meadowlands next week. Is he ready? Speed-wise, yes. Mentality, no. But a horse as powerful and fast as him, he understands. Like, he sat and behaved. Now, I kept him back and out of trouble. I didn't want to put him in harm's way. I wasn't going to push the envelope with him the other day. But he did everything perfectly I asked him to do. When I moved him over, he wanted to attack, and I just had to steady him, say, I could see what was going on. He was a winner. It was more easy, boy, take it easy than it was go on. But I mean, at the same token, the speed is there. If you don't think that Carter Michael Dio can't trot in 53 at the Meadowlands right now, then you're wrong. He can. But can he do it in a polished, professional manner? I don't know. That'll be up to Carter Michael Dio. Sometimes a win really starts to solidify who a horse is, what a horse is. Sometimes all they need is a win to get that done. And he certainly had an emphatic win the other day. Very, very impressed with what I saw from what's this thing doing? From Carter Michael Dio the other day. And we'll know. We will know on Tuesday afternoon what Ron Burke's plan is. He told me he'd let me know sometime mid-morning, mid-afternoon, and I will pass it along to you. We had some other horses that just looked good. Austral Hanover, he didn't feel as powerful as I thought he would, and I talked to Scotty after. Thinking back on the races and looking at the starts from the other day, Scotty said, historically, it's tough to get over Philadelphia flip-flops. And although Tailgate Buzz wears them, he does. Although Tailgate Buzz wears them, the other horses that we have that wear flip-flops really struggled. Now, Tailgate Buzz went medium speed, slow, and then I put him in gear down the lane. So it's not like he got pushed, pressured, or really put to a test when it came to racing the other day. But he had flip-flops on. The other horses that really you could see something was up with them was, I felt anyway, Austral Hanover. A little weaker than I thought he'd be, but that was a good bunch of horses. Last half 57 also, so it was no joke. And the horse raced great. He raced his ass off, so I can't ask for much more than that. And also Fashion Presidente just looked out of sorts. I left faster with him at the Meadows and zipped right through that first turn. Got to the first turn at Philadelphia, and he really felt lost. I lost him the first turn. He rolled off stride, and he'll be back and get them next time. There didn't seem to be anything wrong with him, and there wasn't anything after. Now, under closer examination, I would say probably those flip-flops played enough of a role. They just kind of threw him out of kilter, and he made a break. I'll tell you a horse that I won't touch too long on him because I spent all winter talking about it, was Enzo Aguelo. He looked awesome. And I haven't really made a big deal about it, but obviously that was his first start on Lasix. You know, Blair Burgess had written something on Facebook the other day. Very, very knowledgeable person. You know, sometimes Blair can be a little bit cagey, like the professor from Back to the Future, but that, make no mistake, Blair Burgess has won more races than most people will ever compete in. He's won a lot of big races, very knowledgeable guy, and I actually like Blair quite a bit. We might butt heads on a few items. Lasix is one of them, but certainly respect his opinion in many regards when it comes to horses, horse racing, the care of horses, and management of horses. But I think a lot has changed, and people started beating that drum of Lasix and 2-year-olds. And you know, I had read somewhere the other day somebody else had an opinion on 2-year-olds and how they should or could or might race, or how they ought to race. And you know, the problem with people's opinions is when it comes to every horse, they're just that, they're opinions. They're subjective to the person that is giving them, right? Just because I say one thing doesn't mean I'm right. It might be right for one horse and wrong for another horse, but for people to think that they have the right answer for every horse, especially a horse that they don't know, it's just insanity. So when I see somebody, whether it's Blair or anybody else, comment on something, I understand that, one, a horseman like Blair is knowledgeable, but at the same token, every single horse is different. Now, if Blair and I sat down and had a coffee and talked about the issues surrounding Enzo Aguelo, which aren't that major, you know, when I try and break down how it came to be that Enzo Aguelo was bleeding, it's a little surprising to me that he is. A little shocking to me that he is. And I can't quite quantify it. He wasn't sick all winter, so it wasn't an issue that, you know, maybe this has been something that's brewing for a while. He never was trained overly hard. I never really dropped the hammer on Enzo Aguelo. He trained down the same way everybody else did. Yet, here's a horse that when we scoped him after Jody's start, showed a little blood. We trained him on Amacar, schooled him on Amacar. There was still a few little flecks showing, and that was after 8 days in between. So it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like there was absolutely no reason that this horse had sprung a little leak. There just wasn't enough evidence there. I'm just trying to figure out where I'm at. I'm on the 407. I opted for a road rather than traffic, but I feel I might be going the wrong direction. So when it comes to Enzo, I don't really think there was enough there to say he is bleeding because he was sick. You know, there was something else bothering him. The only elevation in any part of his blood was the liver count, and it was coming down. So when I looked at all the evidence, finally, after we schooled him on Amacar and there were still a few flecks there, it dawned on me that there may be two separate issues. He may have an elevated liver that we're working on, and he may be prone to be a little bit of a bleeder. there may be two separate issues. Maybe there's not. Maybe everything I'm looking at doesn't culminate in him bleeding. Maybe there's a number of issues there, but they're all separate. So we opted to put him on Lasix, race him on Lasix, and man, I thought the horse looked tremendous. For a horse that left, then he was a little warm in the first turn. The horse in the front was a little bit green. I removed him to the front, so now I've left and removed him. We're at the 3/8. Let the favorite go. I was the second favorite, I believe. Let the favorite go. Followed him, and trotted as hard as he could right to the wire. Probably one of his better performances since that qualifier where he looked really good. I was thoroughly impressed with Enzo Aguayo the other day, and not a drop of blood to be found on the smallest amount of Lasix you can give. So I think that little bit of Lasix really helped him in this idea, and it goes back to 3 Point Blue Chip last year when we raced 3 Point Blue Chip. Not many people know this, but he had shown a couple of flecks a few times, and then we opted not to race him because it's such taboo. Because Blair and people from, I got to be careful. I say I don't want to offend anybody, but I think this taboo about Lasix comes from an older generation. And in that generation, if you had a 2-year-old trotter that could trot in 55, you had the world by the arse. Now you might not win the maiden. And you can't tell me that horses have evolved so much that this speed that they have to go now at 2, that this speed somehow is causing all this. Well, it comes from somewhere. I mean, it isn't the race bikes. These are world-class horsemen racing world-class horses. They're just going faster. Jack Darling is a decorated horseman. Bulldog Hanover winning 45-4. Now, it seems a little odd. There seems to be a lot of fast miles to the Meadowlands lately. But that's another video for another day. But Bulldog Hanover, again, 45-4. When did we ever think we'd see that? I said to somebody the other day, you never would have thought you would see the day a 2-year-old pacer paced 49. Now every single major stake race in the latter part of the stake season has the ability to do that on a big track. Certainly Kentucky, Mohawk, the Meadowlands, absolutely. There was a horse winning 50-2. His second lifetime start, first stake race he was in New Jersey. So, I mean, it's a long way. It's a bit preachy, but at the same time, I do believe that if you have a 2-year-old that can benefit, because Lasix isn't something you need forever. It's not like once you put them on it, okay, now you're on it forever and you stay on it forever and that's that. I can take Enzo Aguayo off Lasix next year if I think that he's now grown out of it. A lot of these allergies don't bother them as much as they get a little bit older. Yeah. So yes, we raced Enzo Aguayo on Lasix. I thought the horse raced tremendous. I was very proud of him, very happy with him. And as I said, Blair's, he's stuck in his ways, but he's a very, very smart man. And I think if we sat down and talked about each horse and the difference in every horse, there are some horses that you could turn out, but there are some horses like Enzo, I believe, truly benefited from the Lasix program. So we'll see. Nothing But a Dreamer raced tremendous this week. This was the horse James was talking about. I qualified him, thought he was great. I was relegated to racing him his first start without hobbles. Thought he did what he could. And then there was that whole debacle with the recall when he made the break in the first stake race. And then James, and I think it was wise to do so, opted to say, hey, can we race him in the grassroots? Just get him a little confidence before he starts swinging at those killers again. I think that was the smartest thing to do, and the horse looked tremendous. Now you'll likely see him in the gold his next start. I haven't talked to James and Harry about that, but I suspect you're going to see Nothing But a Dreamer enter the gold program again, but we'll see. Tailgate Buzz, and this is what I love about our clients is sometimes we do butt heads, right? I'm not always going to be right. It's my job to make the final decision. I'm not always going to be right. That is simply inevitable, right? I'm only human. And I butted heads with a client in particular last week about why I would put Austral Hanover in the Sire Stakes program and not Tailgate Buzz. And my answer was simple. Tailgate Buzz might be faster. They're very, very similar horses. But Austral Hanover is a much tougher horse. And if he was dealt a blow in the races where he get beat up, he gets stretched out, I know he would come back swinging the next week. He's just tough. He's been beat up his whole life. His entire life. I don't think he ever won a training set, maybe one training down. he never seemed to have a great day. So I know that Austral Hanover's tough. Where Tailgate Buzz has first started to get burned up a little bit, and he kind of give it up. Now he had some reasons. He was a little sick, and there was a number of reasons there, but he didn't look as good, and I thought that keeping him in where he could win races and do well would help him turn into a much better horse down the road, and I stand 100% behind that. And the horse raced fantastic the other day. Looked great 2 weeks ago, winning, and looked great again the other day. The favorite wheeled up. At no point in the entire mile did I think he would lose. At no point. I put him in gear a little bit, getting into the last turn, and then geared him right down. He just felt like he wanted to fight and was looking for a fight, and he found one coming out of the turn, but he won it decisively, drove away, and looked very, very good winning in Philadelphia. Just really, really proud of this horse. Very happy with him. And then, of course, we saw the 3-year-olds race well this week. Resolute Bay. A lot of people give up on Resolute Bay a few weeks ago, and I told everybody, quite frankly, and I'll continue to tell you, his best racing is ahead of him, right? I truly believe that Resolute Bay's best races will be ahead of him. And I know that a couple of people after Ottawa, somebody sent me a message, said he needs to be sold. And, and I get it. People get emotional and say things rather bluntly after a horse race. I get it. I've been there. I'm your partner on many of these horses. I can say things bluntly too. I try to. I practice it. But the simple matter was, you're wrong, right? He just had a bad night. And hasn't been as good since we put him on Lasix, but for no particular reason. I thought he would bounce back and show us, the horse he could be. And make no mistake, this isn't the horse he is. You're seeing glimpses of what he's on his way to being. I will tell you right now that the best races for Resolute Bay will be at 4, will be at 5. Now, will it be with us? I suspect so, but we'll see. And I think you're just seeing glimpses. This is a brother. His brother was a world champion. This is a family with a very, very strong pedigree. And I think that Resolute Bay is going to be a very good horse for the stable.ca, not just now, but in the future. And then Renegade Gypsy, I thought he raced good again the other day. I never see him, he reminds me of a little bit his Walk on the Moon, where they're flashy and beautiful horses, and they have talent. Do we see it all the time? No, I don't think so, but that's okay. That's nothing wrong with that. It bothers me, but you know what? I say this all the time. White Tiger was the same way, is the same way. You very rarely get to see his best. You'll never see him get roughed up and reach down deep and dig down and, gut it out. He's just a horse you have to put in a position to be an effective horse, and he will be. And they're the same type of horses. All those horses fit kind of in the same mold as they could be better, but they are what they are. They'll let you know what they are, and they won't go beyond that. You might call that 85, or I might call that 85 or 90%, but that's their 100, and that's what they're going to give you. And that's just what you have to deal with moving forward. So Resolute Bay, Renegade Gypsy, both raced good this week. Super excited. Originally I was not down on Locatelli. I thought that Sylvain would drive Locatelli, and I would simply drive Stay Close. Locatelli's going to need a start or two. We have him pointed, obviously. We got big hopes and plans for this guy. Hopefully an open trot. Hopefully he can race in some of the bigger stake races. I think he's got a lot of potential, and he's going to do a lot of good for us. Harry's done a great job bringing him back easy. He didn't really need me on Monday night. I thought that I'd actually be utilized a little better with Stay Close out of the 10 hole, and then it turned out that Sylvain had another drive in the race. So I did drive Locatelli, and Michael Whalen's going to drive Stay Close. Stay Close, very close to having a little bit of rest. We'll see how he is this week. We had run some fluids into him, changed his diet a little bit going into this start. So we'll see how he responds. It's going to be tough to really get a true view of how he is out of the 9 hole or 10 hole, but we'll see. I think we all know what he is, what he isn't. I think we're all going to get a good look at how he is right now, and I think it goes out saying, regardless of what happens, soon he'll be getting a little time off. White Tiger, very happy with him last week. Now we got the rail. We have the rail. Not a great place for White Tiger to start from, but it is what it is. So we'll see if we can get White Tiger. I think the vet had said he was pretty sore across his heels, and we actually changed him to some flip-flops, which gave me a little shiver, because this time of year when it gets hot, the tracks get a little deeper, and it's harder for some of the horses to get through them with flip-flops on. So, he's been racing good, then I jump on him and he doesn't race good, I'm going to feel pretty bad. But at the same token, we got to do what's right for the horse. And if his feet are a little sore and flip-flops are going to help him, then I think we owe it to him and we owe it to ourselves, certainly, to see if he'll race see if he'll race better with a flip-flop on. So that's what we're going to race him on Monday night. Stay Close, as I said, racing out of the 10 hole. He's in with Locatelli. White Tiger's in with Globetrotting. She was awesome last week. Very, very good last week. Do you know what I did? So there was traffic on the 401. I thought it was the 407. I jumped off onto the new highway, the 412. Never been on it before, which took me north. And then my GPS told me to go back this way. And now I'm on the 401 again. That was pretty dumb. Whew. Anyway, so Stay Close. We'll see how he is. As I said, Globetrotting was fantastic last week. She's in to go this week with Louis Philippois. I hate racing our horses together. We had to now for 3 weeks in a row, and that's enough. I'm going to have to shuffle them around if they're going to keep putting them in with each other. It's not going to fly. But we are in with Globetrotting and White Tiger. Somebody said, well, Anthony, don't you think Globetrotting's a better horse? Well, first off, they're very similar, right? Very, very similar horses. White Tiger might be a little stronger right now, but maybe not. The other mare winning 53-2. So what it boiled down to is, where might I be best utilized? White Tiger's been known for making breaks. He can get hot, put himself in a bad place. Where Globetrotting is, just put her in a good spot, let her trot down the lane. I think Globetrotting was the easier choice to let Louis Philippois drive than me. And it was close, but I thought that maybe I was used better with White Tiger. And then, of course, Sailor. A lot of people saying, what's going on with Sailor? At some point, I don't think I want to sell Sailor. I think Sailor's got a lot of use for us. I know he's not 3, but at the same token, he still feels like a younger horse, I think he's going to do fine at Grand River. We're going to race for 11,000, where we can drop back into that class. Horses that race for a purse of less than 12 or 15,000, whatever it is, in their last 3. I think that's a good spot for Sailor, and I don't think he needs a rest yet. We just got him back off a rest in March, so I think another month or so we'll race Sailor. Now, I'm saying it like I don't think we'll sell him, because obviously you guys know there'll be a lot of horses. There's going to be some horses sold in the next month, and then again, heading into Harrisburg, there are going to be horses sold, and you guys probably know the likely names of those horses, and that's just the way that we chose to do business last year, and it is exactly how we're going to choose to do business this year. We're buying a lot of horses. We had 2 new horses enter the stable the other day. How the Hell is a 3-year-old Goo Goo Gaga that we had bought out of Delaware. We don't even have him yet. Obviously, you have to pay for the horse before they're going to release him. I wired the money. I sent them the picture of the wire, and I vaguely know the people that have the horse. So they're going to release the horse to the shipper. I believe he's getting picked up tomorrow. So he'll be in Northfield probably Tuesday morning. And then obviously we had bought Home the Tone from Ben Bayerson. I like this horse a lot. His left front ankle bothers him a little bit. That's just maintenance stuff. And his GGT was the highest I've ever seen in a horse. I told you Enzo's was high. Not as high as this guy's. 201. And that horse had nothing to do. For those of you out there that are saying, Anthony, what's with your GGTs? And they seem to be really high at the stable. Well, we've never had one as high as Home the Tone, and it was taken the day after you get in the stable. It wasn't at the stable. This horse is coming with that. So we're going to take the time, I think, one, to get the GGT down, but as we are, work on a few little other issues that we see. His right hind leg, just old maintenance stuff that we can work on along the way. So probably going to take him over to Ohio. I had Angelica look at the horse here. I'm going to take him over to Ohio where we can work on him a little closer, work on that liver, work on his ankle, work on his leg, and then we'll get this guy all revved up and ready to go in the fall, into the winter. But first and foremost, take care of him, and that's exactly what we plan on doing. I don't think anybody out there is in a desperate rush to see Home the Tone race mediocrely, because that's how it race with his liver that high. So why don't we do right by the horse, take care of his issues. We know what they are now. Take care of his issues and have him ready for early fall. Early fall, I think, for our boy Home the Tone. Patrick the Piranha continues to race good. It was very kind of them to give us the 8-hole in the final. I know they didn't give us the 8-hole. We drew the 8-hole in the final with Patrick the Piranha. Bruce Ranger was possessed the other day. One of their 25-4, 54-1, and it just pouring rain. Maybe he's in a hurry to get back to the paddock. I don't know. But he get picked off late, right at the wire. The horse raced fantastic. Then coming back, it's so hot in Massachusetts this weekend, they canceled the races and moved them to Monday. So Patrick DePerona is going to race out of the 8-hole on Monday. I think in the month of August. Now, I've talked to Mark about it. I'm just giving everybody a heads up. You may see Patrick DePerona head to the Gold Cup in Saucer in Charlottetown. Somebody asked me the other day, well, what about Sintra? Could he go? Maybe. Jody told me he gets around a half as good as any big track. An older horse. Do we really want to run him down there? We'll see. You know who I'm going to ask? I'm going to ask Sylvain and Harry. That's what I'm going to ask. Would it benefit this horse from going to PEI? We'll find out. We'll find out soon enough. And then Kings County, a lot of people said, he got a bad drive the other day. I think if Trevor Smith, if you asked him, he'd probably wish he had that race back, right? Here's a horse that left the week before, winning 52 the start before that. Now, he has paid into the Charlie Hill and a bunch of other races this fall. So I think, yes, Brett has too for the Open, but I don't think it's a point where they're just racing his horse rather than Kings County. I think they want to maybe keep him fresh, keep him sharp, especially with this crazy heat that's going on right now. So I really didn't oppose giving him the week off. We'll see how he bounces back. But a horse like him, he's been good to us. He's going to continue to be good to us, clearly into the fall, into the winter. Very impressed with the horse that Kings County has become. As I said, Home the Tone and How the Hell joined the stable this week. Lucky to have both of them. I told everybody I'd price the horse if you'd asked me. I said 38 to 42. I was hoping we'd get him for 32, to be honest, but I knew that there was a couple other people that were interested in him, and I can easily make a case for what we paid for him. I think there's a lot of promise in that colt in particular. I think you're probably going to see him. He's coming to Northfield Park. We're going to tinker with him, but I think what you're going to see is him show up at Mohawk. I don't want to waste any numbers and 3 numbers and 4 starts with him, and if he's as good as I believe he could be, and as Timmy and Matt, who I talked to about the horse, who drove him, had said, I think that How the Hell will fit in really well at the stable in Ontario. A couple of horses everybody's watching. A number of people, actually a couple of people coming to me in Chicago, of all places, the other day said, we got a couple of pieces of Cutie Cumber. How's she coming? I said, honestly, I know Dominic was pretty pleased with her qualifier. I wasn't. I expect a lot more from this filly. I expect she'd be trotting at 58, 57. Now, James said she was stronger. The horse on the front felt like he was a little bit ready, or she, whatever it was a little bit more tight and ready to go than Cutie Cumber. But James was happy with her. Dominic was happy with her. I said, well, I'll tell you how happy I am. You can just school her once or twice until she's ready to trot 57, 58. This is a filly that we're likely going to, and obviously we are going to forego the New York Sire Stakes with her, because I want to make sure she's her best form of herself. And as one of our clients had pointed out to me the other day, there appears to be a lot of money in the fall as opposed to the start of the summer also. So having horses ready is not going to be a problem either. I think that goes also when you look at Brace for Landing. We're going to qualify him Thursday at Northfield Park. I was super impressed with what I saw from this horse the other day, training by himself at Northfield Park. He was very good. So Brace for Landing, Cutie Cumber, coming along nicely. One a little bit better than the other just yet. And then obviously the 2 landings. Landing Strip, I was disappointed he made a break the other day. I don't believe he should have. I'm going to requalify him on Tuesday. Tim said, well, we can wait a week. No, he made the break, not me. And it seemed like it was an unforced error on his part. So he can go ahead and qualify on Tuesday. Landing Pad was ready to go. Had a lot of redness and pimples in his throat. A couple of markers in his blood that jumped up. We scratched him. His differential was flipped. All that stuff should be better now. So, although I can't stay to school him on Tuesday, I would expect that he will school on Tuesday and be ready to go shortly thereafter. Now, he's another horse. If James isn't completely happy with the way he's going, I'll happily take that horse over to Northfield also. This is a time of year, I keep preaching, we're going to have them ready later, We're getting closer to later, right? We still want to have them ready to go first part of August, since they're going to race August, September, October, November. By the time you have them ready to go 1st of August, it's likely August 15th. The only race in November is the Valley Victory. There's some races in between. Just get the horses raced and see what they are and what they aren't, and go from there. So, although there is still lots of time, they are on the clock too. They're expected to do their work. So Landing Strip will qualify Tuesday at the Meadows. Landing Pad will likely school Tuesday at Mohawk. And then Cutie Cumber will school next week. And Race for Landing will qualify Thursday at Northfield Park. Very happy with the way Ohio's been going. Now, as my wife pointed out, she's right, we didn't have 6 Sire Stake horses like I thought. Right down to the last second, I was certain that we did. I don't think Full Heart's going to make her way to the Sire Stakes. She's just too stubborn at this point. Although her last race was her best, I was happy with what I saw from Full Heart in regards to the way she raced at Scioto. I'd like to see a little more speed, but I was mildly happy with the way she raced. High Enterprise again, 30-2 on the end of it's much better than 32 or 34 as she gets over her sickness and gets a little stronger. I'd like to get a couple of fares into this filly so she can get her confidence up. So as I said to Jason, just show me where we're going in the next week. I want to get a fare into a couple of them. High Enterprise, definitely one of them. Coupe de Ville, I have no idea what in the hell got into her. Brett said she just didn't want to play. She didn't want to trot the other day. He said once I got her back trotting, she was awesome. But I don't really know what to tell you. Why she wouldn't. She just didn't feel like she had any interest in doing her work the other day. So she found her way right into a race Monday at Northfield Park. Now, got the rail, not a great place for her to be, but there's going to be some hard lines drawn on Wednesday for Coupe de Ville. She acts up again, she's going to get the hobbles, first off. Secondly, I want to see how she's behaving, how she's getting over the track. I want to take a look at how she's wearing her shoes. Is she on a line a little bit more than another? It's not like her to just not want to do her work. She's been a worker from day one. Her qualifier was good, but now we're going to have to start moving in a direction where she's more consistent, where we can get more of a consistent race into her, where we are comfortable that we can go into that race without holding her breath and getting her around. She needs to be in a more comfortable manner and demeanor as she goes behind the gate now. So we'll get those horses squared away. And then somebody had asked me, Whispering Song, I don't think she's a Sire Stake filly. Well, it's because you don't know what I know. You don't know the blood on her. She's not a killer Sire Stake filly, but she is a Sire Stake filly. Her AST was high, her GGT was high the other day. She was a little bit sick. I knew at the half something was up. This was not the filly that I moved in the maiden the week before, and she came charging on the end of it. It's not the same horse. So we'll get her blood right and race her again where I believe she belongs as a Sire Stakes. I can drop her down to the Buckeye. I just think she is and wants to be a Sire Stake filly. I think that Smoking Hot Irish Girl, somebody said, wow, the year's wasting away. Just pump your brakes. It was her first Sire Stake the other day. Just relax. We still got 3 Sire Stakes. We still have the Breeders. We still have the other race in Delaware. There's still lots of money racing for Smoking Hot Irish Girl. You're not going to judge her off a break in her first Sire Stakes and then a fourth in a maiden where she was just beat in a race in the Meadows where she was sick. So at the same token, and when I say they're sick, I don't mean, they got the flu and they're pouring mucus, they're coughing. That's a very general term. It could be a lot of it is a lot of it probably being generated from allergies. Now we'll see as we get closer. We think we have her cleaned up. We'll draw her blood again, compare the two, maybe scope her after she trains next week to get a look at where we're at, what gains we're making, if there's any points in her blood that are being a little pesky and a little hard to get under control. But for the most part, I think that Smoking Hot Irish Girl will be just fine in her next race. And then, of course, I don't have to make any excuses for Swinging Senorita. Just been a great filly for us, and she's going to be a really nice filly. It looks to me, if you're going to say for the most part, those races at Northfield were the Sire Stake caliber fillies. And even if you look at the way the grassroots look, can anybody jump up? It looks to me, and I don't think I'm being just biased in saying it, there's only 2 fillies in Ohio that are lengths ahead of the other ones so far, Swinging Senorita and the Long Tom filly that Chris Lemus drives for Mr. Cross. I think those 2 fillies are the best. And the other filly looks bigger and stronger, but Swinging Senorita is a little handier. I leave inside him. He's going to have to get in behind me and vice versa. And it doesn't mean that we're even going to catch each other in the same divisions all year, but I think those 2 fillies are the best fillies in the Sire Stake program in Ohio thus far in 2022. So again, I'm always okay. Did I miss somebody? I talked about Sintra. I talked about the 3-year-olds. Talked about the other horses. I just don't want to miss anybody. and I don't think I did. So I am just giving it a quick once over in my head. Crantini, check. Talked about him. Talked about Sintra. Talked about Nothing But a Dreamer. Just very, very happy with the way the year's gone now. A very tiring week, but obviously I got, and then, the cherry on top was the debacle at O'Hare, but that happens. Happy that I got to see my son play baseball. It was a great day here in Oshawa, watching him play baseball. I'm going to go home now. Tomorrow we got lots of horses to race at Mohawk and all over the world. And then Amy and I and Ava and Addie are going to take off again. Ollie's got some baseball this week. Told him I promised him I'd be back Saturday. At least Amy and the kids would be back Saturday. Okay, let's see what we got. Monday, Mohawk for me. Tuesday, I want to qualify at the Meadows. I want to qualify leaps and bounds. Or I'm going to school leaps and bounds, and I'm going to qualify landing strip. Tuesday afternoon, we got our two girls in together, Purple Aura and Sweet on Pete, the $30,000 final of that pop-up series. Wednesday, pretty easy. I got to run over and drive Father Dunn, and then I have to go back, drive Blue Tesla and Company at Northfield Park. Thursday's a big morning for me, even though we're going to have no purse money in the morning. Brace for Landing qualifies Thursday morning. I'm super excited to see this colt qualify. Friday is all the Ardens. We have 6 horses now, 5 in Tim's horse to race in the Arden. Likely 3 divisions. If there's only 2 divisions, then we're going to have to trim. So I guess that's important to talk about right now. Spitfire Overseas will 100% be in the Arden. And I think probably Tailgate Buzz should be if we're only allowed to go 2. But that would mean we could have 4, right? So Tim will likely want to put Bisco in there. Tailgate Buzz, Spitfire Overseas, and who might the other one be? Maybe Fashion, depending on how we come out of it. The other reason I think Enzo easily, but he can race in a maiden, right? Fashion Presidente already has a win. Who's the other horse? Austral Hanover should be the other horse, actually. He's got 2 wins. So it'll be Fashion, or it'll be Spitfire, Bisco, Austral Hanover, and Tailgate Buzz will be the 4. If they have a 3rd division, we'll have 2 additional horses, which will be Fashion Presidente and Enzo Aguelo. So there you go. That's how the Ardens are going to shake down. Rosita's Dream is in the same night in Chicago. I'd already asked Casey Leonard to drive him. He hasn't got back to me with a yes, no, or maybe. But we'll have a driver on the horse. But happy with the way the equipment is set up. Now you just have to drive him like a trotter. Don't put him on the run. I know somebody might have criticized my drive on the horse the other night. That was me keeping him flat. I do break Rule 1 from time to time when driving trotters. Rule 1 is obviously keep them trotting. And I knew that getting him into the final was most important. He didn't feel great to me the other night in the warm-up, so we opted to play it safe. I thought he was a strong 4th, and I think he's as good as any horse in Illinois going into the final. So that's where we're at with Friday night, and then Saturday, I do have to have Amy and the kids home, so we do have more than Indigo at the Meadows. If he's going to be the only one, then you'll likely see another driver drive more than probably one of the easiest horses to drive. He's just a sweetheart to drive. So I'm not really worried. If there's going to be a bunch of stake races there on Saturday, all the big drivers will be there anyway. Mark might be there, Scotty might be there. There's little reason and little need for me to be present at the Meadows on Saturday. So that's how my week is shaping up. Last week we had another pretty good week at the stable.ca, and I expect it to be even stronger this week. So I guess that's a lie. We're not going to be stronger this week. We still have, the Phillies race Thursday too. What am I talking about? We get qualifiers in the morning. Those Phillies race in the afternoon. I missed that one. It'll happen. Anyway, that's what took place last week at the stable. That's what's taking place this week at the stable. I know not everybody can be happy. We did have some breakers. We did have some horses that raced a little flat. That's inevitable, but for the most part, we're still rocking really, really strong here in the summer of 2022. I hope you guys, as I said, had a good week. I did have a good week, and I will talk to you all very soon. Take care.